Hey, everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive into the real stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Today, we're talking about a jaw-dropping moment that shook the entertainment world, when one of Hollywood's biggest stars, Brad Pitt, got kicked off Jimmy Kimmel Live after a fiery clash that no one saw coming. This wasn't just a typical interview gone wrong, it turned into one of the most intense on-air showdowns we've seen in years. Social media exploded, insiders spilled the tea, and it sparked a huge conversation about what really goes on behind the scenes of late-night TV. Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into Tinseltown's biggest dramas. Drop a comment below as you watch or let me know what you think about this wild story. Ready? Let's get into it. Picture this, it's a regular night at the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio. The crowd's buzzing, hyped to see Brad Pitt. Who's there to talk about his latest movie? Brad's his usual chill self, waving to fans outside, snapping a few selfies. Just being the down-to-earth guy we all know. But inside the studio, things aren't so calm. Word is, Jimmy Kimmel was in a rotten mood all day, snapping at staff and making life tough for everyone. One crew member, who didn't want their name out there, said, "Jimmy's always been a handful, but lately it's next level." When Brad steps onto the stage, the audience goes wild. He gives Jimmy a friendly handshake, settles into the guest chair, and the interview kicks off like normal. Jimmy starts with some standard questions about Brad's new film. How's it working with the director? What's the vibe on set? Brad's in his element, answering with that easy charm and a sprinkle of humor that makes him so likable. Everything's going fine, a broken bar until it's not. Out of nowhere, Jimmy switches gears. He leans in with this sly grin and says, "So, Brad, let's talk about your divorce drama. Got any spicy details for us?" The crowd laughs nervously, and you can see Brad's face change. He's caught off guard but stays cool. "Jimmy," he says, "I'm here to talk about the movie, not my personal life. Let's keep it there, okay?" His tone's polite but firm. Now, most hosts would take the hint and move on. Not Jimmy. He doubles down. "Come on, Brad. Don't be shy. My audience wants the real stuff, not some boring PR talk." The vibe in the studio shifts, the laughter fades, and you can feel the tension building. Brad leans forward, still calm but clearly not thrilled. "Actually, Jimmy, we had an agreement about what we discuss. My personal life, that's off limits." Here's the thing. Brad's team had worked hard to set clear boundaries before the show. They told the producers no personal questions, especially about his family or legal stuff. Jimmy knew this but ignored it completely. Instead of backing off, he gets snarky. "This is my show, Brad. We don't do scripted interviews here. My audience wants unfiltered, real talk." The crowd's dead quiet now, sensing things are going south fast. Brad takes a deep breath, trying to keep things professional. "Jimmy, I've always respected you as a host, but this feels like a cheap shot. There's plenty to talk about: my movie, my career, the industry. Why go after my kids or my private life when we agreed not to?" At this point, Jimmy's friendly TV host mask starts to crack. People who've worked with him know he's got a temper, but it's rare for it to show on air. "Not tonight. Don't tell me how to run my show," he snaps, his voice sharp. "You Hollywood stars always want to control everything. Well, not here." The studio goes silent. You could hear a pin drop. Brad, stunned but keeping his cool, says, "I'm not controlling anything, Jimmy. I'm just asking for the respect we agreed on." They cut to a commercial break, and things get even messier. Backstage, Brad's team is arguing with the producers, pointing out that Jimmy broke their deal. Brad stays seated, scrolling his phone, avoiding Jimmy, who's whispering with his writers off to the side. When the show comes back, Jimmy's fake apology doesn't help. "Sorry if I hit a sore spot, Brad," he says with a smirk. "Guess some things are just too touchy for you." The crowd's not buying it. That's when Brad decides he's done playing nice. He looks right at Jimmy and says, "You know what? I've been around long enough to spot when someone's stirring up drama for clicks. That's not my game, and I'm not here for it." The audience gasps. Brad Pitt, Mr. Cool and Collected, calling out Jimmy Kimmel on live TV. No one expected that. Jimmy's face turns red. He's not used to being challenged, especially not on his own turf. Are you saying I'm setting you up for ratings? He fires back, his voice low and angry. Brad doesn't flinch. I'm not saying it, Jimmy. I'm stating it. And your reaction pretty much proves my point. What happens next is straight out of a movie. Jimmy, losing it, yells, "Cut to commercial." But the cameras don't cut fast enough, and they catch him leaning toward Brad, pointing aggressively. "You think you can talk to me like that on my show?" he hisses. "Do you know who I am?" Brad doesn't back down. "I know exactly who you are, Jimmy. And this isn't how you treat a guest." The audience is stunned. Some start recording on their phones, knowing they're witnessing something huge. Then Jimmy drops the bomb. "You're done," he says, his voice shaking with rage. "Get off my stage." Brad looks shocked for a second, then flashes a half smile, like he can't believe it's come to this. "You're kicking me out for sticking to our agreement?" he asks. Jimmy doesn't back down. He calls for security, and two big guys start heading toward the stage. The crowd's buzzing now as some are booing Jimmy, others are shouting in support of Brad. But Brad, ever the class act, raises a hand to stop the guards. "No need," he says calmly. "I'll walk myself out." He turns to the audience, gives them a warm smile, and says, "Sorry you had to see this, folks. Not what any of us signed up for tonight." As Brad leaves the stage, one audience member yells, "We're with you, Brad." And the crowd breaks into applause. It's not just support for Brad, it's a clear message to Jimmy. The clapping follows Brad as he heads backstage, leaving Jimmy fuming. The host tries to laugh it off when the cameras roll again. "Well, that was something," he says with a forced chuckle. "Some people can't handle a little teasing, right?" But the audience isn't laughing. A few even get up and walk out in protest. Backstage, Brad's team is already working the phones, handling the fallout. Brad stays calm, reportedly telling his publicist, "I'm sorry it went down like that, but he crossed a line. I'm not here to be disrespected just for some viral moment." Outside, fans and paparazzi notice Brad leaving early and start asking questions. He keeps it brief, but classic Brad. Sometimes things don't go as planned. That's all I'll say for now. By the time Brad's in his car, the internet's already on fire. Audience members posted their phone videos, and the hashtag #JimmyKickedPitt starts trending. People are shocked, siding with Brad and calling out Jimmy's behavior. Celebrities and fans alike jump in, praising Brad for standing his ground. One actress, who stayed anonymous, said, "What happened to Brad isn't new. Jimmy can be brutal when he doesn't get his way. Most of us just take it, but Brad didn't." The network tries to smooth things over with a vague statement, "We love our guests and aim for fun, engaging talks. We're sorry tonight's show fell short." But the damage is done. When the official broadcast airs, it's heavily edited to make it look like Brad left during a break due to a scheduling mix-up. Social media isn't having it. They're trying to rewrite what we all saw. One user posts, and the clip goes viral. The network's accounts get flooded with angry comments, and some advertisers start pulling out, not wanting to be tied to the mess. A few days later, Brad shows up at a charity event, looking as cool as ever. Reporters swarm him, asking about the Kimmel drama. He keeps it classy. Everyone has rough days. But when you invite someone on your show, you respect the boundaries you agreed to. That's all I was standing up for. When someone asks if Jimmy reached out, Brad just says, "No," with a look that says it all. Jimmy, meanwhile, disappears from the show for a week. The network calls it a planned vacation, but insiders say it's a forced break while execs figure out how to handle the PR nightmare. When Jimmy comes back, he offers a half-hearted apology. "Things got heated with Brad, and I didn't handle it well. I'm sorry to him and to you all." But then he cracks jokes that make it seem like Brad overreacted, and the backlash flares up again. The fallout for Jimmy is rough. Ratings tank, viewers boycott, and some big-name guests cancel their appearances. Staff start speaking out about a toxic work environment, with one saying, "What you saw with Brad, that's the Jimmy we deal with every day." The network launches an investigation, and there's even talk of replacing Jimmy as host. For Brad, though, This whole thing only boosts his rep. Fans love him even more for standing up to what they see as bullying. Other talk shows invite him on, and he picks one where he's treated with respect, giving a great interview about his movie with no personal digs. It's a sharp contrast to the Kimmel disaster. This whole saga has sparked a bigger conversation about how talk shows treat their guests and whether the chase for viral moments has gone too far. Some hosts are even rethinking their approach, promising more respectful interviews. It's a reminder that even in Hollywood, standing up for yourself can make waves, and sometimes, it's the quiet guy with the big heart who comes out on top. That's the story, folks. What do you think? Was Brad right to call Jimmy out? Should Jimmy face bigger consequences? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Hollywood stories you won't hear anywhere else. Until next time, stay curious.